have a channel because we're a democracy. Why not? What's wrong with them? What's wrong with standing here and say when Israel do something wrong, because you're the best friend, you have leverage on them, why not criticizing them?
Your question presupposes that we've made some determination that the law of armed conflict has been violated, and I don't think we're not at that point.
Oh, God. He said lie.
You disagree with the UN?
I that we're not going to react in near real time to every event. Israel has a right and a responsibility to defend itself, and we're going to make sure they have the tools and capabilities to do that. Again, we're 1 month after this, and we ought not forget what happened 1 month ago. 1,400 people slaughtered in their homes at a music festival, and when Hamas decided to conduct operations, it was with the intent of killing people. You know, I heard this word genocide tossed around, but Hamas actually does have genocidal intentions against the people of Israel. They'd like to see it wiped off the map. They said so on purpose. So that's what's at stake here, and we're going to keep making sure that Israel has that ability to do that. As for the voices, of course, we respect all different voices and perspectives on this, and we know that there's a lot of there's a lot of high emotion here when it comes to what's going on. We have never shied away from criticizing our friends and partners when we believe it's warranted, and we'll continue to do that. We also believe that the best diplomacy, the best progress in diplomatic pursuits is to do it privately and outside the public eye, and we'll continue to do that as well. We'll continue to have those tough conversations with our good friend.
Anybody forgot what happened on October 7th, but regardless,
I'm not saying you did forget. I'm just saying it's all good for us. We should all be reminded of what happened, and it happened a month ago today.
You talked about settlers' violence in the West Bank. The president spoke about it, but there's also violence by the Israeli army. There is many Palestinians being shot dead in the West Bank. It's 163 since October 7th. There's also massive arrests. There is 1,350 have been arrested under what the Israeli called an administrative detention, i.e. they can arrest a person without a trial. So is this something that concerns you? Is this something that you convey to the Israelis considering the situation in Gaza?
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks, John. I'm going to follow up on MJ's question because I didn't hear an answer about the potential suspension of aid. I know that you've repeatedly said that you've talked to the Israelis, that the U.S. talks to them every day about minimizing civilian casualties. But do those talks include laying out any consequences if they do not, including a suspension of aid?
Hold up. Wait a minute.
I'm not going to get into private diplomatic conversations that we're having with our Israeli counterparts. I will tell you this. We're going to continue to make sure that they have the tools and the capabilities that they need to defend themselves against what clearly was an existential threat to their society and to their people. We're going to continue to make sure they have what they need. We're also going to continue to urge them to be as careful and deliberate and discriminate in the targeting as possible.
Nice.
Jake Sullivan, Feiner, you have all said that any time that the U.S. transfers weapons to another country, it requires assurances that those weapons will be used within the occurrence of law. So just to be very clear, the U.S. does not believe...
That's different than what you're suggesting in your question, which is that we're going to layer on more restrictions on the security assistance that they're getting, and that's not what I'm alluding to, or we're not talking about that.
The transfer of weapons that have already happened. Just to be clear, the U.S. has not determined that Israel has violated any of those boundaries.
No.
And one more point of clarification on what the Prime Minister said about playing a security role indefinitely in Gaza. Does the U.S. see a distinction between that and reoccupation, or is it one of the same?
I'll let the Prime Minister speak to his comments and what he meant by indefinite. President Biden's been very clear we don't support a reoccupation of Gaza by the Israeli Defense Forces. We do think that there needs to be a healthy set of conversations about what post-conflict Gaza looks like and what governance looks like. What we absolutely agree with our Israeli counterparts on is what it can't look like, and it can't look like it looked on October 6th.
Subscribe